All right, we're going to get started. Thank you very much for being here. Isn't it great to be back at the Javits? Like, when's the last time we were here? 2020? Like, doesn't that feel like a lifetime ago? Like, what went on since then? We had to learn how to do business in a pandemic. Anybody else get locked down? Who was locked down? Do you remember what that felt like? Wondering how you're going to run your business, with no store? And then remember we opened up and it seemed like every single customer's bra size had changed. Remember that? And then you're scrambling to get product and you couldn't get product, or you couldn't get staff, or you couldn't get product and staff. It's been a wild, wild ride. And I'd like to congratulate every single one of you to still be in the game. Because it wasn't easy. And I think it's easy to go, yeah. No, we went through a lot and you achieved a lot by still being in business. And I know what that's like because I have 2 stores in what was the most locked down area in North America. So I own Brio Bodywear. My name's Gilbert Russell. And we were locked down longer than anybody else. We do swim, bras, and dance. This is one of our stores. Oh, sorry, that was our first store. That's ugly. And by the way, that wasn't part of the store. That was the entire store. We had 50 square feet sublet from a secondhand clothing store called Junk and Foibles. And we grew from there to this. We have 2 stores in Ottawa. And going with no money was crazy because we doubled, we quadrupled sales year after year. And then eventually we hit a recession. And we were on the edge of bankruptcy for year after year after year. So I know it was like, and some of that helped me get through it, but you know what? I don't know. I mean, we all have our stories. I don't know if anything prepared us for the pandemic. It was pretty crazy. But, so this year, I don't know about you, but I kind of want it to be like an easy year. Who wants to have a normal year? Like just normal, please. This is kind of what I want my year to be. That's the year we want, right? Unfortunately, that's not the year we're going to get. Recession is still a possibility. Inflation is still a problem. Staffing is still a challenge. So it's going to be a tough year, but it's also a year full of opportunity. And I know that because the other hat that I wear is as a consultant, writer on business, and coach. And so to help my clients and help my readers, I spend about an hour and a half, 2 hours a day just researching, talking to experts, trying to figure out what's happening and how retail has changed. And what I'm seeing is that there's immense opportunity for us. If we understand that things have changed, if we are ready to try new things, our stores are going to be in a better place at the end of this year than we ever thought possible. That's the potential of the year, but we need to try new things. And that's why I think it's great that you're here. And that's why I think all of you are going to do well this year, because you've taken the time to learn new things. You're taking the time to look at new ideas and figure out how you can succeed in this year. And we're very, very fortunate to have 3 amazing retailers here for us that are going to share some of the things that work for them. And all the things they've done have worked in their stores. They're going to work in your stores. And so first off, we have Shelley Dominic. I do that right? Thank you. Shelley's been in the business. She owns IC London in Charlotte, which is north and South Carolina, right? And not by the coast. North Carolina. She's been in business 30 years. She got into the business when her parents bought the store that she was working in. She was 6 at the time, I think. Anyway, and since then she has opened stores, closed stores, moved stores. Most famously, she did a major expansion just as the financial crash happened. And so she's learned a lot from that, flexibility, other things, and she'll be sharing some of that with you. Next up, we have Debbie Donnell, who has Lingerie de Bras in Montreal, fellow Canadian. Debbie had been working as a chartered accountant for 18 years, and she was on a sabbatical in Lyon and was looking for a bra. Wound up in London at Bravissimo, where the experience was so amazing, she thought, I want to do this for a living. So when she came back to Canada, she tried to get a Brevissimo franchise. They weren't interested, so she started on her own. So she's built a beautiful business, and so we're going to pick her brains on that, and we're also going to pick your brains as a CA. Because she has a lot of useful things to share. And then we have Larissa Olson, who has Chantilly Lace in Wilmette, Illinois. Larissa bought an underperforming bra store, lingerie store 7 years ago. When she bought it, their sales were $175,000. She's now over $1.5 million. Exactly. And so who wants to know what she did to get that growth? All right. So guaranteed we're going to pick her brains. All right. So we're going to look at 3 different ways to boost your sales. One of the things to understand is that there's a QR code there. We talked, an hour and a half, 2 hours each, right? Like they were very generous with their time, and they came up with idea after idea after idea. We can't do it all today. We have vendors to go see and so on. But we're going to focus on ways to build your sales, but later the QR code will be up again, and you can download, it'll be this presentation plus, it's the extended cut basically. All the stuff that didn't make it in from me and from them, so it'll be great. Okay, so one of the first ways to build your sales is through existing customers. It's very easy to kind of always think, oh, I got to get new people, get new people, get new people. But the reality is that you can make better, easier sales from the people that already support you. And so we're going to talk about how these retailers are doing that. And the thing to remember is you're in a relationship with these customers. And you, like any relationship, you need to keep it fresh. You need to keep working at it. So we're going to share some really amazing ideas on how they work that existing customer. So, do you want to grab the mic?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we're ready to roll. So, Larissa, you're in a mall location. Sorry, Shelley, I knew I was going to do this. Sorry, Shelley.
It's okay.
You're in a mall location. We'll be fine. You're in a mall location, and when you were describing everybody that was in the mall, it was pretty much everybody. Like, I mean, it was just insane. Everybody, competitors down the hallway, across the street, across the mall, and so on. What do you do to make sure that your customers come to you, shop with you, and not with the other competitors in the mall?
Well, for 21 years, my store was in a little neighborhood, like a historic small shopping center, and I had the opportunity to move to a new space that is a little small shopping center, but right at the major mall in my town. So there's a freestanding Crate and Barrel right there. There's Dillard's is right behind me, Neiman's, Nordstrom, everything's within walking distance of my store. So there's a little bit of fear there for me, like, whew, am I gonna really leave a place I've been for 20 years and go to this new location? So I did it in 2013, and one of the things, to your point, that I 100% believe in is, will that customer follow me? Like, I had 2 stores at the time, one out in the suburbs, one in the historic area. I condensed those 2 customers down to like a centrally located spot at the mall in hopes that they would all follow me to this new location. So one of the biggest things that I brought into the store at that time was a reward system. And I can't even tell you how successful it's been for me to thank them for coming to shop with me. It gives them a little dollars off the next time they come in. They get dollars off when they refer people. I can give you details about what it is, but that has been, to your point, retention. Like, yes, did I want new customers? That's why I moved to the mall. I wanted that walk-by traffic. I was being put next to a hair salon with 34 stylists. If you could imagine, like 34 chairs turning, every so many hours, and people walking by my windows. So that was exciting, like to be positioned with a lot of walk-by traffic, because both of my stores prior to that had been destination. You were driving to me from a distance to come to my store. So now I was plunking myself right where I would get a lot of foot traffic. And it's been very beneficial, but it was very scary. It was a whole new way of looking at business for me. So reward system, that would be what I would say.
Yeah, very, very good point. Thank you. Debbie, speaking of rewards, you have a program with very specific rewards that celebrates people's birthdays. Can you tell us how that works?
Sure. So when we first opened the store, we were trying to find ways to reward our clients in a positive way that would also bring sales into our pockets. So basically, we have a birthday promotion that when a client in the month of their birthday, from like the 1st to the 30th or 31st, they get 20% off one bra. And we normally make it the most expensive bra if they buy more than one. And so, how many of you out there have like a data collection system for your employees or a CRM software so you can track? Yeah, okay, good. So that was one of the things was we get a new client that comes in, we open a file for them and we ask their basic information, including email, very important for us anyway, and we ask them their birthday month and we explain, oh, we have a birthday promotion, the month of your birthday, etc. And then what we do is we create an email that goes out on the 1st of the month, and we set everybody up by their birthday month so that they get a reminder, like, oh, it's your birthday month, happy birthday. And we make it very positive, happy birthday month, you know. Everyone loves to celebrate, well, mostly, up to a certain age anyway. And so what happens is that because it's first, the good thing about birthdays is they are all through the year pretty evenly spaced. So even if you have months that are slower, like us in Montreal, like January, February, who wants to unload 6 layers of clothes and get down to your lingerie? But those birthday ladies want that 20% off. So it tends to even things out. So they're evened out throughout the year. And the other thing is, our experience is most of the time they buy more than one bra. There are some clients who buy one, but most of the time once they're there and they've tried on 6 bras that they love, they buy 2, maybe 3. We give them the discount off the most expensive, which is like, oh my God, normally it's off the cheaper one, you know? So, I mean, it's a couple of dollars, but it makes all the difference. And it's also a really good reminder for clients that once a year is a good time to renew your bra, you know, like, because again, sometimes the bras can go on and on and on. Like Heidi Schlesinger says, there's the ugly bra that lasts, you know, for years. So, I mean, it's a good reminder, like once a year, it's a good time to get a new bra. So not only is it simple to manage, it's totally affordable to manage, and it's a good way to celebrate the client's birthdays too, because then when they come in for their birthday, it's like, oh, happy birthday. It's a very positive experience. But at the end of the day, it does generate sales for us as well, which is, you know, why we're here trying to stay in business. So.
Thank you, Debbie. That's something we can all apply, right? And it's so powerful. I love the way it spreads business over time, right? So your people are coming in when their birthday is, not when they need a bra, or, you know, and often when you need their business, right? So you can do discounts, you can do rewards programs. Another great way to stay connected is newsletters, and there was some insight from our discussions, and that'll be in the handout. But what I'd like to turn our attention to now, is what something that blew my mind, actually.
Whoa.
No, seriously.
I try
This is so
to
cool.
blow people's minds.
So, Larissa, you've got to tell us about your top 100 customer program.
Okay, so I have had a lot of other stores say, oh my God, my customers wouldn't like that at all. But since we have our analytics, we can see who is really spending. And like, it started off because it was sort of a sleepy December, and I was like, we got to get people in here. These customers are so great. They're really supporting our business. We should give them a gift. So I did the top 50, and they got a bottle of champagne. And so people came in, and everyone who came in for their bottle of champagne bought something. So I was like, oh, an idea is born. And then I started doing the top customers of the quarter, top 50 of the quarter, and everyone would get like a special gift. Like if I went to Paris, I'd buy something special, 50, you know, $20 gifts. That seemed really different and special. And it really got people like wanting to make sure that they became a top customer. So, and then everyone gets a shout out, but it's semi-anonymous. So it'd be like Larissa O of Evanston, and I'm not going to say the last name, but then it gets people forwarding it to their friends, like, hey, you know, my newsletter is getting forwarded to all these people. Like, look, I'm a top customer. So people work like super hard to make sure that they're top customers. They're like, people come in with like guns a-blazing, like showing their purchasing power. So, but it's also a way of making people feel like they're part of a community and like they actually are an active part of the business. So, yeah, it's been fun.
Love it.
Isn't that crazy? She's got people fighting to buy more to be on top. That is insane. So these are all great ways to stay connected and try to make that sale from your existing customer. Now, we're going to need to be getting new customers as well. Sales are going to soften. We probably experienced that already in your stores where things have slowed down already. So we're going to need to get new customers. And the way to do that, by the way, is not to have a 30% off sale. Our expenses are up. You can't just be blowing your brains out. It's just not going to work. But there are many other ways that you can bring people in. And but things are slowing. One of the groups that's slowing the least are wealthy customers. They're still buying more than others. And so, Larissa, you've built quite a business just targeting the affluent. Can you talk to us about how you thought about that, how you target an affluent consumer?
Yes, well, I certainly never would want my business to feel like we're only for the affluent, so I try to keep a range of prices, but I did notice that people who were happy with our service and had basically unlimited spending power would buy like as much as they could for like this house and that house and the other house, and and so it was like, I need 5 for this one, I need 5 for this one. I'm like, okay, this works. So I did targeted mailing. I've done targeted mailing. You can buy names and addresses and literally cherry pick your demographic, property value, age, household income. And the postcards I've sent out have been like really simple, just like an image of our top selling t-shirt bra, but like great graphics, sophisticated looking, and then it goes to 4,000 homes. That was a huge part of building my business. So I'd say I have noticed a lot of people are uncomfortable working with the wealthy, and I'd say like they're actually really pleasant to work with, and don't be afraid to, don't feel guilty about working extra, going the extra mile to get those people in, because they're going to really stabilize your business.
Great, thank you. And that's something that we can all do.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm not surprised that the postcards work that well. One of the things that's happened in marketing is everybody's gravitated to online. So all the money goes online. So now what happens is that's crowded, it's expensive, people are being bombarded. But meanwhile, other media that have been abandoned, you can really stand out. So whether it's postcards or outdoor, a lot of those are places to stand out. And I mean, when's the last time you got a postcard in the mail from a retailer, right? So it's a way to stand out. So it's a powerful, powerful way. Speaking of powerful ways of bringing new customers, Shelley, do you want to grab the mic?
Oh,
thanks. You have a referral program that is awesome. It brought in what? Anyway, thousands of customers and pretty much for free. Can you explain how your referral program works?
So what I mentioned before, 5 Stars is my loyalty program, and so much of it runs through 5 Stars. So I text my customers every month at the beginning of the month, whatever the special is for that month. And when my customers come into the store as a new customer, they're filling out a little tiny sheet, and it's their name, address, birthday, because this 5 Stars platform has a ability to send out a birthday coupon. And how did you hear about us? So they can put Google search, they can put from a friend. So if they write a friend or my sister, we're like, oh, please give us her name, because we're going to go into her reward system and we're going to give her 200 bonus points, which is a $10 coupon, which doesn't sound like a lot, but man, these girls love it. Like they're checking out and I'm like, check their rewards. I'm like, oh, you've got $20 worth of rewards today. And they're like, oh, that's great. It's like a free pair of panties. They get super excited. So that referral, we were talking, Gilbert and I, in 2021, after coming out of the pandemic, my most common answer for how did you hear about us was internet search. A lot of ladies had been shopping online during those years, and then they were super frustrated because they were getting box after box of bras and nothing was fitting, and so they needed to come in and get a proper fitting again. And so during that time, I noticed that it was flip-flopped. It was like internet search, and then the secondary was friends or referrals. So then 2022, it was like so many new customers had found me, but then they went out and told a friend or a coworker or whatever. So then this year it flip-flopped, and the most common way that people found me was from referral. So those ladies that sent somebody in, they got a $10 coupon, and some people bring in 3 friends on a Saturday and they get $30 worth of rewards that they can redeem on the spot. So they're happy, their friends are happy, and then it incentivizes them to send somebody else in. So it's been very successful, that portion of the 5 Stars loyalty program, that we have the ability to tap into that and use that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And of course, that person that's getting the rewards probably buying more bras than she would have bought otherwise. And I think the other thing to keep in mind is sometimes when I discuss these sort of things, people go, well, I just gave $30 away. Yeah, but you also gained a customer for life. And, we all have customers who spend thousands of dollars a year. Like if you would you spend $30 to get that customer? Of course. And because it's a referral from a friend, it has even more power. So yeah, amazing, powerful way to do that. Now, another way to get sales, of course, is to go online. One of the challenges with online is that you're competing with people with very deep pockets for SEO and so on. But Debbie found an interesting workaround and a way to make her website, her web store, very effective. Can you talk about how you trained your customers taught them how to use the website, basically?
Sure. So first of all, I want to start by saying that my first step is not into web-based bra fitting. I'm a bra fitting boutique. I am a firm believer in one-on-one personalized service. We work by appointment. Like it's a very personalized service. So people were telling me for many years, even before the pandemic, you have to go online. That's where people are shopping. And I was very resistant. So there was talk about it, but then the pandemic hit. So we did like a lot of you did, is we just said, okay, we've got to do it in order to stay open. So we opened a web store, and since then we've finessed it. But in order to make sure, so yes, it definitely attracted new clients because all of a sudden we're in web searches. But one of the ways we wanted to train our employees, because they were so used to the one-on-one service, as were all of us, first of all, we trained our staff because we had to make sure that all the staff knew how to place orders online so that when they got a customer in the store or a phone call or an email, that everyone had the same answer. The next thing we did is we felt it was our job to train our current clients on how to use our web store. So we did that by a few things. We started off by having web-only sales. So we would have this particular item or all of the items on our web store, but only online. So then we would have clients come in the store and they'd be like, oh, but we want the web store. And we're like, no problem. So we would have the fitter sit down. They come in, they started off by coming into the store, get the fitting, find out the bra they love, and then turn around and buy it online and then leave with it. But at the time we were frustrated, but then I was like, no, we told everyone the point of doing this is education. We're in a year process. We're educating them on how to use this process. So that's what we did. We had the fitter or the person at the cash or whomever saying, just show me your phone. Like, this is how you buy on Lingerie Deborah on the web store. And we did through it. And here's how you use your coupon code and click, click, click. And here's your bra. You're picking it up. And we had options to pick up or ship. Here you go. And they would leave with it. So it was kind of like frustrating because it was an extra step we had to take, but we were investing in that time. So we did that. Then we did a few other promotions. You come in store and buy a bra and you would get a coupon to buy online for your next purchase. Same thing, people would be like, well, I want 3 bras. I'm gonna buy these 2 and this one I'm gonna use my coupon. So we would walk them through in store. We also created videos, how-to videos that we would send by email to our clients, how to shop online. We did social media and all of that, how to shop online. And of course, we kept repeating over and over, we are available if you have any questions at any time. We've got emails, you can contact us through social media, chat, all of these areas, and we will help you. So we were educating them. So now it's been 2.5 years. On we'd had a Cyber Monday sale in November. We made literally our monthly sales in 1 day. And even more impressive, because we were like, oh, is this going to work? Even more impressive, I think we had 5 emails maybe from clients asking, what was my size again? Because by then they were so used to either knowing their size, being more familiar with it, instead of us handing it to them. That's where we were shocked. We were all waiting for, to be bombarded with messages all day, and we literally got 5 messages and made 1 month of sales in 1 day. And we were all like, oh my gosh, this is, so invest in it. again, it takes patience. It takes your staff being patient as well and really training them. And at the same time, when you have a web store and there's volume, and now, of course, we're doing all the things you're supposed to do for a web store, which again, I'm not a not a huge fan of, but we're doing it, the Google ads and all that stuff. We have expanded our reach. So now we get, we're in Canada. Very few people, again, want to take all their clothes off in the middle of January, but they'll buy online, and so what's also happening is people are very comfortable rebuying the same bra. Like they have it in black, they want it in beige, they want it, and that becomes a very easy sell online. We provide shipping and all of that. And I mean, we sent a shipment out this week to Equalit up in northern Quebec. So no one's ever going to, they're not going to come to the store, but again, so it just expands everything. So, but it takes patience.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great example. We're going to do Q&A at the end, just so we can, and then we'll stay. I'll stay until we're done. So, you don't have to have a web store. I mean, if you do it, that was a great example of how to do it. Larissa and Shelley don't have web stores. They've made the choice not to do that, and that's fine. You have to pick your poison, decide where you're going to go. We have limited bandwidth. Put it where it matters. But you do have to have a strong web presence. And because the thing is, 90%, more than 90% people search before they ever come into your store, right? Regardless of whether they're going to shop online or not. And so you have to have a strong web presence. And one of the problems, a lot of retailers are very quick to just throw product up. Say, look, they go to your website and it's, look at all the stuff we got. Nobody cares. People know you've got the stuff. They know they can find the stuff. What they want to know is, are you their store? Like, who are you? What do you stand for? That's the choice that they're making. And then they'll go down and see if you have that particular Madison in their size. But you need to be clear about who you are when they hit their store. So, if you look, this is, Lingerie Deborah. I mean, do we know what they do? Yeah, written, visual, it's very, very, very clear. For Shelley, I mean, you put a lot of money into the photography so that they could see that this is an elegant store. Another thing that you've done, which is really interesting, you say where you are. People want to shop local, but the problem is we don't tell them they're local. How many websites have you been to where you've got to scroll down and down and down and you click on About Us and then you find that they happen to be down the street? It's ridiculous. It should be right up there. So be clear about who you are, pick a lane, and be clear about that. Larissa has a very clear voice on her website, especially on her Instagram. And there's a very strong brand. And I'd like you to speak to how you chose that voice and how how people respond to it.
So I've taken a very unconventional route in my marketing. I'm very, very raw, very honest. I'll wake up and do Instagram stories in my pajamas with sometimes a colic out to here and no makeup and just totally just be human, because I think people are so jaded on everything being perfect and phoniness and being marketed to. So making yourself vulnerable is probably the most effective thing you can do. And then I also make it totally unpredictable. So people say, they're clicking on my story because what's she doing now? You never really know if I'm going to be taking out the garbage, cleaning out my car, or telling you the merits of a $200 bra. So, yeah, awesome. That I would say just be authentic.
Yeah, and whatever authentic is for you, right? You don't need to be this or that, but you need to be you, and you need to be clear about that. I think one of the mistakes people make is they try to be everything to everyone. And the problem with that is you wind up being nothing to no one, right? So pick a lane and don't be shy about whether you want to be cheeky or high end or exclusive or this or that, but be who you are and be clear about that. And don't be afraid of other people not liking it, because what happens is there's a halo effect. So you're going to reach that target audience. You want people to be passionate about your store. And then there's going to be people around that group that will also gravitate towards you. So very, very important to have a strong voice online, because that's what's going to bring you people. Now, the other thing that's going to bring people in are events, and especially charity events. And does anybody know if Revealed is out? Anyway, it's in this month's Revealed, so grab a copy because I wrote an article about how to run events and charity events. And Shelley, you've got some charity events that you run.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how they work and how that works for your company?
So many years ago, I met a fellow store owner, and she told me that once a year she would have her customers bring in their gently used bras, and she would give them a discount for dropping off the bras. And I thought, that is brilliant. Like, they want to, we want them to buy the proper fitting bra or a new bra, re-up, right? But what do they do with the bra that they just last year spent $100 on and they don't love it anymore or whatever? So I took her idea and I went a step further, and I do it's a bra donation reward. And so they can bring us one bra in or a whole bag of bras. Usually when they're buying bras from us, if they're a new customer, we tell them at the store, we've got a little sign up behind the desk, and we say, please bring us back your gently used bras. You get a $10 coupon for bringing it back to us, which brings them back to the store again, And we take the bras that they give us, and we have 4 different homeless shelters in the area, and we take turns. Like every quarter, a different homeless shelter gets 5 or 6 big, huge bags of bras. And they're always a little nervous about, I don't know if they're gently used. I said, listen, these women have nothing. If they're clean, bring them in. If the shelter doesn't need them, they can throw them away. But bring them. And so that has been very rewarding, because then they go home and they purge. They throw all those bad fitting bras into the bag. They bring them back. It's a feel good for them. It's a feel good for us. It helps women in our community. So that started probably 15 years ago or something. But we started doing a backpack drive, say 10 years ago, for a back to school drive. So in August, we told our customers, if you bring in school supplies, backpacks, stuff for teachers like hand sanitizer, because they're going through that like crazy, Kleenexes, whatever, $10 value, we're going to give you 40% off the item of your choice. Whatever they want. They could buy a non-prompt bra, they could buy whatever they want, 40% for $10 donation. Now, people are so generous. Of course, a lot of them bring way more than $10 in. But we take those. We have a place in Charlotte that Classroom Central, where kids that can't afford to get school supplies can go there and get free supplies. It helps teachers that, teachers need the supplies and they can't always afford them. So we do that in August. And so they get 40% off one item, but they rarely buy just one item, right? They buy that one item and they get it off, and then they're buying extra things. So then a couple years ago, we were like, okay, 6 months apart from our back to school drive, we need another charity event, because we really love these and our customers love them. So for Valentine's, instead of focusing on sexy lingerie and, sex and all that, fun stuff, but it wasn't working for us anymore. Like, we found that Valentine's just wasn't a big holiday. And so we started a program called Give from the Heart. So during the month of February, if people bring in new underwear, socks, or toiletry items for the homeless shelter, it's the same thing, 40% off an item of their choice. And last year, it was amazing. Like, during the COVID year, we didn't have a lot of donations, but the last year we had enough for every week. We took a carload full of supplies to each of the 4 homeless shelters that we take the bras to, and we were able to drop off, feminine products, deodorant, all of it. You can imagine, like, people, again, are so generous. They know what we're doing. They feel good that they got 40% off of something that they wanted to buy. And so we do that also 6 months apart from our back to school drive. So twice a year we do a big fundraiser or a big charitable, and then we do the bras year round.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, charity events are a great way to do well as a business while you're doing good. And it's amazing how it engages customers. And read the article, there's some other tips on how to do that, but thanks for sharing that. So if you reach out, you have a strong voice online, and you work, your website, and you are careful with charity events and work your existing customers, that's not going to be enough to be profitable this year. Because right now we're in a year where our expenses are going up. We're going to have to watch them. We're also going to have to watch our inventory levels and our margins. My recommendation would be to be very lean this year. It's a tough year to know what to buy. But the thing is, if you buy too much, in a recession, you'll get stuck with it. I mean, when we went through the recession, it didn't matter how much we put things on sale, they just didn't move. And then you can't pay your bills. So that can be really tough. By way of example, you brought in a big shipment right before the crash. How much was that? Do you remember?
You mean 2008 crash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the amount of that
It was-
shipment?
It was brutal. I bought that merchandise, 9 months before when I had been at market. I was coming off of a record-breaking year in 2007, and so I put in this big $40,000 order for French bras, and expecting it to be spread out, that $40,000 over the entire fall. Well, they saw what was happening, and they shipped my entire $40,000 in August, and then in September the stock market crashed, and I was like stuck with all these gorgeous French bras and panties to match, and to your point, I could not sell them even no matter how much I discounted them. So that was tough.
How long before you paid everything back?
I think it took me 2 years.
Okay.
Some months I would send them $100, whatever I had. If I had a better month, I'd send them $250. And the fact that I kept sending money and whenever I could, get out from under it. But it was a long process, and yeah.
Yeah,
They were along with me on that process.
Yeah, you don't want to be stuck there. We're in a funny business because we have so much inventory. Shout out, what's the smallest bra size you carry? Anybody? 30A? 28A? Okay, what's the biggest bra size you carry? Okay. Is anybody good at math? How many SKUs is that? That's insane, right? And so we're going to have to be very careful. And all of these retailers do a good job of managing their inventory. But Debbie, can you speak to how you make sure you're not buying too much, how you control open to buy, how you watch margins, and cash flow? Feel free to release your inner CA now, please.
Okay. Well, as you mentioned, with all the SKUs, and we cater to D cup higher, so we go from 28 to 52 bands. We've got D up to O cups. I used to be a chartered accountant, but I never had run a business and run inventory. I'd seen inventory on a balance sheet, but managing inventory is a very different beast. And I'm sure all of us are in the same position. That's our biggest asset that we have. Like, we put so much money into it, so much time and energy into it. So you have to manage it well, because if you don't, you end up having things that sit forever. So I had this, I call it an albatross, sitting there going, what do I do with it? Like, I knew we were selling bras, we were buying bras, some of the bras were selling well, some weren't. So what I did is I contacted an inventory specialist, because I was not one. And basically, working with that inventory specialist, and this was before COVID, so it helped me very much through COVID, basically helped me create what's called an open to buy plan, which I found out afterwards in retail is a very common expression and term and things that people do that I was not aware of. Basically what it is creating a monthly budget by category of things that you should be buying. So again, depending on the month, you might sell more bras, and maybe in January you sell more sports bras. Maybe in the case of us in February, we sell more swimwear because people are escaping the winter and going somewhere else. So it really looks at your historical monthly sales and then says, what should you be buying and have in the store so that people can hopefully leave with it, and therefore you generate cash. So basically, we've been working with this lady now for a few years, and there is a little bit of effort involved, but it has drastically increased our cash flow. Now, cash flow is not the same as a sale. A sale generates cash flow, but cash flow is really ultimately the thing that's going to keep you in business and help you, in my opinion, in the upcoming year. And ultimately, it's not as complicated as some might think. You basically need to have more cash coming in than you have coming out. And I'm not saying that to sound it's really that simple, but the complicated part is, how do you do that? So obviously, what I do, and again, because I used to be an accountant, this is probably a little extreme, but hopefully if you're not familiar or comfortable with numbers, then you have a good accountant who is. I look at my cash flow weekly. So every week I look at my cash flow and I say, okay, where are we standing this week? Am I basically borrowing money from my line of credit, or am I paying money towards my line of credit? Do I have extra money to put on my line of credit, or am I needing money? Now, again, seasonally and everything, this can fluctuate. If it turns out you're having, a month of I'm pulling money down all the time, and it might be like a January thing that happens every year and you're kind of used to it. But if then it turns into February and you're still drawing money down, at the end of every month you're like, I don't have money to pay my bills, like you're feeling that tightness in your chest and it's going on, then that means you're in a cash flow crunch. And the reason that you, in my opinion, you really have to deal with that is what can lead to bankruptcy. That's what can lead to, because you have to pay your salaries, you have to hopefully pay yourself a salary. And I'm sure all of us have taken, we're the sacrificial lamb all the time, we're the ones that get dropped. But that leads to resentment, that leads to you wanting to sell your business. So if you really want to keep your business going long term, you have to make sure the pluses are outweighing the minuses. So 3 main ways to do that, in my opinion. Increase sales, not as easy to do in a recession. Cut back on costs. Also, none of these are easy fixes, but there are certain ways to look at things that you can maybe cut back costs on. Or talk to your suppliers about getting things on sale, or spreading out your payments over a longer time period than the 30 days that they're asking you to do. And the other thing is margins. Now, what margin means is the difference between what I'm buying the bride and what I'm selling it at. Now, here, when we get our price list, for example, they all tell you, oh, here's the recommended selling price. Well, that's not a one-size-fits-all thing. In our case, we have specialized profit specialists and if I want those people and I want to pay them a decent salary, I have to have a higher margin. I have to charge a little more than what's on that price list to pay them better, so that I have better staff that are hopefully going to stay and they'll be happy to stay. So, as I'm sure all of you have had the last 3 years, there's been a push on the margin, meaning all the costs of everything, because of inflation has gone up, right? All of our suppliers, we're having it. Like, it seems like every week I'm adjusting my prices every week. Well, they can increase their price, but if you're not increasing your price, then your margins are getting less, which means everything's costing more and you're not bringing in more money, so you're going to have less cash. So, as difficult as it is, normally you have to then pass on those price increases to people to keep those margins so that you're still bringing in the proper amount of money, so that, again, on a weekly, monthly basis, you're not bleeding money. Because I personally don't have a rich grandparent who's funding things if things go, if we don't have the cash, and I don't want to lose my business. So if you obviously I am comfortable doing it, but if you are not comfortable doing it yourself, then get a good partner who can work with you, a good accountant, and even if it's not weekly, at least monthly, and say, where are we standing? Because it shouldn't continue. There will be months sometimes, but it shouldn't be a regular thing, or you're going to get into a danger zone, I think.
Yes, thank you, Debbie. Very sound advice. I think when I work with clients, I think we're all wanting to coast. Like, we've been through so much, we just want to be sort of lying back and just letting things happen, but that's not the year that we have. But again, the opportunities are huge, but part of it is like getting more sales, but a huge part of it is controlling our business. Any final thoughts, Larissa? Do you want to, and then we're going to do a Q&A at the end as well, if there are any questions.
So I have a different take on the recession, and maybe it is because I'm courting the wealthy customers. It's not affecting people very much. It's not affecting our sales. Our sales are really going up. We had the biggest day we've ever had in all of Chantilly Lace history last Saturday. It was a trunk show for Marie Jo, and it was a $20,000 day. Wow. So I think that one of my favorite books is it's the biography of Marshall Fields. Marshall Field was a department store in the Midwest, and during the Great Depression, it's old store, during the Great Depression, when everyone else was doing like flash sales, he went a different direction and tried to make things even more grand so that shopping at his store was an escape. So I'm not saying to be reckless, but I'm just saying, like, keep your store elevated so that people can use your store to escape from their troubles and worries. And it's going to be like just a place where they go to feel good. Don't talk about problems too much. Be honest and raw, but like, you still want to keep it an escape, and just have still have your gorgeous pieces. But I would really say that the safest way to buy right now is buying your basics, because you can always replenish them, and basics always sell, and you don't get stuck with them. So just stick to your formula. Don't play around too much, but have some splendor mixed in. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, true enough. Debbie, final thoughts?
Again, in terms of inventory, I guess, also try to get a handle on what sells well and stock more of that. And the things that don't sell well, like really watch it and try to, again, cut back and maybe not don't have as much in. Still bring enough in, maybe not a full like 24 pieces, maybe bring in 12 so you have them to show and to, like you said, make things look, lovely, but at the same time, you've bought half, so your bill's half, maybe.
Shelley, final thoughts?
Oh, I love that idea that even, having been open for 30 years, I've been through all the highs and lows of things that can happen. And I agree. I mean, I think that even if women can't come in and buy 3 new bras, if they just need a little bit of retail therapy and to come in, and yes, they always need their beige t-shirt bra, but sometimes they just want to come in and get something pretty, or even a new pair of panties, like something just to lift their spirits a little bit. So having some fun things are pretty feminine things that in addition to that beige bra that they're coming in to buy, they can throw that extra piece in there. So I love that idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that speaks to the opportunity of this year. Yeah, of course.
I'd also recommend, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I wouldn't buy like a full run of any bra that you haven't vetted yet. I would know your top selling sizes through your analytics, and maybe just try the bra first before you do one of every size, because that's a sure formula to get stuck with stuff. I used to do it when I was new, and I really got burned. I had to donate like $25,000 worth of inventory over the years.
Yeah, no, very, very solid point. I think that speaks to, like, this is a year of great opportunity because we need to be trying new things. We need to be trying new ideas. We need to still be bold but cautious, if that makes any sense. But we can't be boring. I mean, it was a time for boring, but those that aren't boring, those that are interesting, try new things, are going to succeed. I think that is my takeaway. We've covered a lot. You'll get... You'll get the handout, but there's a lot here. Everything can be applied to your store. You just need to figure out how do you apply it. You need to focus on what's important to you, what resonates with you. This is a year, we're still going to be short-staffed. We're getting slammed in our store in terms of how busy we are. But it's a year where you go, okay, pick a lane. What's most important? What's going to give us the biggest return, and focus on that. That's the copy of the presentation with all sorts, including your planner's reference and so on. So there's all sorts of additional information, everything we left on the cutting room floor. So definitely download that because there's some really, really good stuff there. Everybody got that? I'll leave it up for a moment. Actually, I think it's on the other one too. So, and if you have any questions from that presentation, feel free to email me. I'm happy to respond. And again, do not forget that this is a year of great opportunity. Your store at the end of this year will be in a place that you didn't think possible if you try new things. So please do that. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And thank you, panelists. You were awesome. Isn't that great content? Seriously, so many ideas. It was amazing. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, the back.
When you mentioned it, I was like, it's so sad that it's gone. It was such a beautiful company and what they did. So I just want to say that. But when you do online sales, are you letting them return?
Yes.
What's your return policy?
So we have a very generous return policy. We have a 30 days. Oh, sorry. So our return policy, we tried to say to everyone when they were nervous about buying, especially lingerie online, we were like, oh, think of it as your house being your change room. And so we give them 30 days. And we have a 2-prong return policy. One, if the bra is unworn with the tags attached, you can return the bra within 30 days for a full refund. If, however, you buy the bra, you like it, you wear it, you take the tags off, and you're not happy within the 30 days, you can still return it, but you get a store credit for a future purchase of something else. So we tried to be very generous, and surprisingly, knocking on wood here, we haven't had as huge amount of return as I know you can. Like, I did all kinds of research before about return levels and percentages, and I think our returns are pretty good, honestly, because we keep track of all of our clients and their purchases and their sizes. So before they purchase, if they're nervous, they call us and they'll be like, this is the last bra I had. They might stick with the same style. Like I had an Alomi and a 34 double G, and we'll be like, well, you had Matilda, let's try Morgan. Or so we do things, and we have a pretty good non-return rate.
And you have that 30-day even in store?
No, in store, if you come in the store and you try it on, you get 14 days, and you can return it for store credit. We do not refund, except in
So
very,
usually different than that. Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay, yeah.
Relating to the web, I wanted to ask, did you find that it required more staff when you took that on? Did you bring in more people? I mean, it's really hard to bring in more people.
Yeah.
A lot more people,
Can't
but you
even
can't always
get
have-
anybody.
That's totally true. So I was lucky in that my husband is in IT, and I had a younger daughter, younger than me, much more comfortable with the area. So when we built it, both of them built it. So I know that's a big task to populate all of your products and the sizes and everything. There's a lot more things out there that making it easier. So even someone like me who's not happy with it, it was fairly easy to figure out. We ran it just our staff at the beginning. And then when we took it to the next level, which we did about a year ago, I hired someone who was a web store manager who then looked at all the online metrics. Because running an online store is completely different than a boutique. It's a completely different business model. The way you have to market, the way you have to, it's very different. So having someone who had the experience in it, because I did not. So I hired someone who had experience that I did not have. And I've learned from them, but yeah.
I have one more question for actually all
Mhm.
three of you. Do you charge for your fittings?
No.
Okay.
At the back?
Yeah, which POS system do each one of you use in your shops?
So mine was recommended by Danny from the Town Shop. It's called Visual Retail Plus, which is like a copy of another one. But it's a small company and they can customize things. They're out of New Jersey, and I mean, I'm happy enough with it. It's not perfect, but
They never are.
Yeah, mine is a company called Multiflex RMS. Very affordable, but again, it has the basics, but there are times where like, wish we could alter it a little better, but yeah, tweak it, yeah.
I use Fashion Sense, which is a Canadian company, and I've been with them for 20 years, so.
Yeah, it's $1 million question, eh? We're all searching for the perfect POS. We're with Counterpoint, and I don't recommend it.
just really good. I would say whichever POS you choose, you have to be sure that you can actually see which bra size is sold, so you can always run a report of your top selling sizes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mine does not do that.
Yes?
So don't get hers.
Don't get mine.
What is the percentage of sales compared web versus store? Now that you have a web manager as well.
So again, we've only really had a web manager for a year, and it took a while to revamp the website and get it. So we launched in April last year, so it hasn't been a full year yet. Percentage-wise, it depends on the month, but I would say it's still not like 15 to 20% maybe right now. Yeah. But it took a while, like a new business. It took a while to get there.
Although, just in terms of statistics overall, 15-20% is kind of where it is for most people. You know, the press is big at talking about we're all going to shop online. It's 80% online and stuff. Even the best players are lucky if they can do 30. So, factor that into your planning because, if you're going to be in 15-20%, you're doing well. Yes?
Do you feel like that 15 to 20% was on top of your existing in-store business, or that it cut away from your, or a combo?
It's hard to tell because the last 3 years have been so crazy.
Yes.
So we are now at the same sales, higher than the sales level we were before COVID.
Okay.
It's really hard to tell. I think that it's been extra. I don't think it's been 10 to 15% extra. It's probably been 5 to 7%. Half of that, I would say, has been totally extra, which are new clients, or people were just like, it's easier to buy than to come in the store and come. So I would say, 5 to 7%. But again, it's an investment in time and costs, and again, expenses to hire people and train. So.
Yes, sir?
I have three very quick questions. First one's for When you're doing your targeted mailings to a wealthy demographic, how often do you go with it? Are you going to the same demographic every time? Is the card the same every time?
I mean, I don't do these postcards very often because it's incredibly expensive. It's actually not the printing; it's the postage that's expensive. So, and some of my postcards have worked and some haven't.
Okay.
At some of them, I can actually, if I use the company's brand, I can have a marketing budget with Vandeveld, and they will pay for my mailing. So
Okay.
I'll use it toward a postcard any day. But no, I don't do it. I don't do it often. Maybe once a year.
Okay.
But like, if things are getting bad, I would do. I would find that money and do a postcard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give a discount when you do those?
No, I really don't. Personally, I don't. I try to train the customer to want to pay full price and not expect a discount. I think that the discount problem is that, first of all, we're discounting ourselves because we spend so much time and attention, and no one's going to get treated the way they do at our shop anywhere, I don't think. So we're like just oohing, gooing over them and telling them they're gorgeous and all these things that bring up their self-confidence. And so I'm like, I'm not discounting that. No. Like, so.
Can I ask two more questions?
Yeah.
Do any of you consider tipping? Because it's a discussion we've had over and over again for the fitters. We don't do it, but it's just a question.
We've had people offer us tips before, and we're like, no, please, and they'll be like, can we just give you some money to buy the girls coffee or something like that? And occasionally, like if they're really insistent, I'll be like, okay, thank you so much. I'll go do a round of Starbucks for the girls or whatever. But no, we do not believe in it. No.
You have a third question?
I do. On your website, when you obviously upgraded your website or changed your website, is it the single website for your store and for your online store, or does it have only an online presence for the website that you built?
It's considering that we're a Profit specialty store, we have like a website that explains what that is, how to find your size, what sizing is, how to take care of bras. So we have a website, and within there, there's a shop filter, which you can go into the shop and then buy.
On the same website?
On the same website, yeah. Mhm.
Any other over in the far corner there?
Your website, is that on a particular platform, or did you have that custom built?
So we use Wix, which again, I think if you're starting, and I still feel like we're starting in the first few years, there's a lot of online there's Wix, I'm trying to think, there's a ton of them. Shopify, thank you, that was the other one I was thinking of. There's a ton out there that make it a lot, like even for someone like me who's uncomfortable with it, was easy enough to figure out. The problem with the POS systems, when you buy like a boxed option, they're less, you can't tailor them to your liking as much. And I found the challenge we always had, because there's so many SKUs with bras, because first of all, you have two sizes, right? There's the band and the cup, and then there's color. We were tapping out on a lot of the online ones, because they're like, what are you talking about? You need 3 options for each bra. That was like, because a lot of them are restricted. Oh, for this item can only have 12 sizes, and you're like, what? One bra can have 100. So that was the hard. That's why we went with Wix, because they were the one who didn't limit us in terms of that. Yeah.
Just I'm not recommending Shopify. I'm not recommending Shopify, but they do have a workaround for that.
Yeah,
So
most of them have workarounds.
check, which is pretty easy. But yeah, that's our biggest problem, right? Yeah.
So just to hop onto that, because we have a Wix site as well.
Mhm.
Do you maintain a separate inventory online, or how do you? Because our struggle,
Yeah.
our struggle is that Wix and our POS, which we like separate units, don't integrate.
Correct.
There's a workaround. It's a pain in the ass. I do
Yeah.
every day. So do you maintain a separate inventory?
Yes.
Or just struggle?
So I'm going to give you one of our tips that we've done. So yes, so what happens at the end of the day, every day, we go in and we remove things off Wix. However, what we started to do online, which was a game changer, I think, is we have certain suppliers where we know that they have stock, like harder recently, but normally. So what we do is we offer, and we know we can get the bras fairly quickly, because they're either local or like we have one that we get it next day, for example. So we use them like our offsite warehouse. And then what we do is then we might have the black in store, but we on our website show all 3 colors it comes in. And then if someone buys it, we send them an email that says, it's at our offsite warehouse. And we will get it to you within a week or 2 weeks. But then the benefit of that is when we actually sell it in store, we don't have to update those particular brands online at the end of the day because it's not our stock. That has been a huge time saver for us. Yeah.
Like half an hour, 40 minutes.
A day, yeah.
Any other at the far back there?
Given the topic that we've all been talking about, are you all willing to share what your percent of profitability is? Bottom line?
Bottom line.
I know what mine is.
So bottom line, like, okay, I'm gonna again talk like EBIT, like before income taxes and before, in my case, it's around 5%. It's not huge, but I think that's pretty average for a standard retailer, yeah. But yeah, it's about 5%. But that's because, and again, this is all personal choice. When you start a business, you decide what you want out of your business. What's your mission? My mission is to help women feel better about their bodies. And I also want to hire women or hire people, it tends to be women, and pay them fairly. And if you're going to do, so you have to stay true to, I believe, what why are you doing this? It's not, if you're not having fun and you're not doing a bigger purpose, then why are you doing it? I'm not in it to make $1 zillion. I'm in it to pay everybody, including myself, a fair salary so that they enjoy coming to work and we have a job and we have stability. And my job as the owner is to make sure that the business is there to provide the jobs and to provide the service to clients. So yes, I want to be slightly profitable, but I'm not I don't have I'm the shareholder. I don't have shareholders to answer to on a, to making me feel pressure to make that bottom line higher. It's like, no, as long as I'm meeting these other mission statements, which are non-financial, I can sleep well at night. So, yeah.
We've we used to run around 2.5%, which is kind of standard, and now we're just shy of 10% profit margin. And I don't mean that to brag. I mean that as an example of the opportunities that now exist. I think part of what we realized with the pandemic is that we don't have to be giving things away. We can up our margins. We can charge a fair price, that we are giving a good service, and that's worth something. And so that confidence, and partly too, competitors are disappearing and so on, but there's kind of a new approach where we're basically saying this is what it's worth, and people are paying it. And so, but difference between 2.5 and almost 10 is a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So I put it out there just as an example of the opportunities that are in front of all of us to value what we do and to market it well. Often when you're charging less, it's not a pricing problem, it's a marketing problem. You haven't made it clear what the value of what you're doing is. So I just thought I'd share. Anybody else?
Just ask Shelley a question. It's just I've been in the same destination, little mall. It's a little mall and it's a destination, but we've got a lot of empty stores in there now. There's like 12 empty stores, so it's just really small. Yeah. And there is an option to go to the big mall. When you went to the big mall like that, did you find you had a lot of wasted time fit-ins? Like, was it like a lot of just young kids coming in just to kill time, or was everyone coming in that actually wanted to buy from you?
We've all been through that. People that come in to get fitted and then they take pictures in the dressing room of what you fit them in, and I know they go home and order it online for cheaper. So yeah, we've all done that. But no, I didn't really. I'm not in the mall proper. I'm on the mall property, but it's a separate little shopping center with luxury apartments above it. So they've gathered together some local merchants to have a presence at the mall. So I'm lucky that I'm not physically inside of a mall, like a major mall, but I'm on their property. But yeah, I do benefit from being a part of the mall, because if they're inside the mall, I'm on the kiosk and they're looking for lingerie, and they can walk outside up the hill and I'm right there. So I get the benefit of it without all the hassles of being in the mall, which is great because I would never be able to be open like 10 to 9 every day of the week, so I can have my own hours and all of that. But I was a little nervous about it. And right after COVID, we had, even in my luxury little space that I'm in, we had 3 stores close. And so they were vacant for 18 months and they just recently got filled. So we've been through that where you lost some of your fellow tenants that when you signed your lease, you thought, I had a fine jewelry store right next to me and a furrier, and they all went out of business, and took them a long time to refill those spaces. So in the meantime, you're hoping that you can still draw the customers in. So, yeah.
To add to your question about being a showroom, basically, we had some professional photography done and put really elegant, try it here, buy it here. Our bras come with our free professional bra fit service. We hope that you, and then there's the rest of the sentence. And that's posted by the doors, so as they're leaving, there's at least maybe some guilt. So, I mean, it's not gonna stop it, but messaging that, like, what you got was the free fitting.
Yes.
Like, don't steal that from us, please, basically.
Good point.
Yeah, good, yeah. It's worth a try, right?
What do y'all put towards marketing and advertising a month, a year? What's y'all's budget usually?
It's supposed to be 6% of your revenue. I mean, like rule of thumb, it should be 6% of your revenue goes toward marketing, but I think be really careful about how you're spending that marketing. Your graphic design needs to be like really striking
And in my opinion, the most powerful marketing is your referral, like a referral from someone. So again, to your loyalty program or something like that. And so how you spend the marketing dollars, yeah, I agree, about 5%.
I don't spend very much anymore. I've been open for 30 years, and I really do very little. Like, I do social media, which is free, and maybe a boost here and there on social media, but I do a card for their it's a new customer card, so when they first sign up, I have the postage on that all year long when, it's a little coupon to bring them back in. But yeah, most of it goes through my platform, which is about $300 a month, and that's everything: text messaging, all my birthday coupon, all the rewards are all encased in that. So if I took that $300 times 12, that's probably my biggest expense monthly.
We run about 8%, but I'm going to lower that because I'm stealing your idea about referrals. I'm ripping that one off.
Sure.
Any other questions? Well, great. Thank you very much for being here. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful show. Thank you all. That's great. Thanks.